I just wanted a little bit of one, and suddenly I have all these sheep. This isn't good. Help! Help! I need to get out of here. Start the episode. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Adventures of FoxFoil. Today we are starting out by our mob farm and where we were building at the end of the last episode. And do you notice anything different? What about if I do this? That's right, we are in the new 1.20.1 update, and we have all of the new features to start exploring, including this new cherry blossom biome, which is just amazing to look at. I'm super excited to finally get to start exploring it a little bit. Now, at the start of the episode, we had some issues with sheep, you might have seen. And today, the other project that we have is to build another epic farm, which will be a wool farm. So that is coming up. But first, we need to start exploring and taking a look at this biome and this update, because there's just so much to see. And I haven't even been able to play with any of the features and any of the snapshots. So this is my first time getting to take a look at these and just look at the trees. I mean, the wood type is amazing. The leaves are amazing. All of the particles and flowers. I just really like this biome. Going to have a lot of fun with it in the future. I considered having a completely new world and starting all over, but then I thought about all of the builds that we had here, all of the projects that we still had ongoing, and I thought, you know what? Let's keep the world, but let's update it. Let's make sure that any of those places that we haven't explored yet, or the places that we haven't built in, get reset so that we can have the full advantage of the 1.20 update. And I'm so glad that I decided to do it, because this cherry blossom biome that we are in is actually really close to our starting base. In fact, if we fly out, you'll recognize this as the mountain where our villager trading hall is, and we can just fly around here and we should see our starting area coming into view right here. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot of exploring to do, lots of things to check out. I'm so excited to be doing this. So let's get started with some exploration. Now, I think the best way to go off and explore is to do a live stream. So I'm going to get started with that. And when I get back, hopefully, I will have some good highlights to share with you. I just finished the stream, and it was so much fun with everyone who made it and getting to go out and explore all of the different areas as part of the update. Found a lot of good loot, had a good time, and I ended up with some great highlights. So we're going to take a look at those now. I don't even know where I should be looking. I know it's probably in one of these. There we are. Perfect. Well, we're going to take that with us. Oh my goodness. Got outpost. And a desert temple. Well, we can check out both of these places. All right. Here we are. We are going to do the fly-in. There's a goat horn. I've never had one. Is this one? I'm finding everything from like not 1.20 update. Pick that. This up. Yes. There we go. Perfect. We've got a full set of armor for the Dune one. Never tried that one out. I don't know what that one looks like. That's loading. We did it. Well, that was... Ooh, and there's another one. This is a good boat. I've found the library. Finally. There we go. Oh. And it even is in here. Yep. I would never have thought to go through the wall. I wonder where this... From all of the exploration, I was able to find quite a few good items. So we've got 4 different armor trims that we'll be able to use, plus a bunch of sherds and sniffer eggs. So we want to get these out so that they can hatch and we can have a bunch of sniffers around here. For the armor trims, I'm going to want to try to test some of these out and see which ones will be a good combination. I've been doing a little bit of testing and I think I figured out which armor trims I want to use. So I'm going to put some diamonds in there. We need to get some cobblestone and then we can get some of these trims, put it onto the armor. All right, I've got the cobblestone and we've got the diamonds. We're going to need the Vex and the Dune armor trims. Over here, what we're going to do is we're going to put the Vex armor trims in here. We're going to put the diamonds here, put the helmet, our pants, and the boots. And then we're going to switch out this one. We're going to put the one in there. And then for the Dune, yep, that's the one that we want. And now for the full effect. And here we go. We've got the design out, and I think that this works really well with the trims that we have right now. The other consideration for these trims is how they look with an elytra, and so I think that these also work really well with having the elytra and not having the chest plate on. So all in all, I am really happy with the designs that we have. Now that we've had a taste of the 1.20 update, I think it's time to get started with our main project for today, which is to build an epic-looking wool farm. And while we have most of the resources already over by our city, there are a few little ones that we need to collect up to take over that we just don't have yet. And I think that these are going to just make the build even better. So let's get those and then we'll head over. We need to have some cocoa beans because we're going to need some brown dye. We're going to need red dye. We're going to need some yellow dye. We have to get some ink sacs. And so we're going to be able to need that. And then over here, we should grab the magenta dye. We've got some pink dye and purple dye. And we should take the cyan dye because we always need cyan. Probably take the white dye too. Let's take the rest of those. The other item that we're going to need, which I think is over here, is some mud. And that should be, we don't have any. So we're going to have to make some mud. Fortunately, we have some dirt. Let me grab some of these and then we can head down to our mud room and get some mud. I've loaded up the dirt here. It's going into this dropper and we should be all set to get this started. Now, if I can just remember how to do it. I've loaded up the dirt here. It's going into this dropper and we should be all set to get this started. Now, if I can just remember how to do it. I think I need a little bit of dirt here and then I place, let's see, get the shovel. Let me see. Things like this. There we are. And let's try that again. So we place the dirt. There we go. That's what we need to do. Now we're cooking. All right. I'm going to have to get about 6 stacks and then we'll meet back up once that's done. So I now have 7 stacks of mud, which should be plenty for what we need to do. And it's time to head out and get this started. So for the farm that we are going to be building today, it's going to go in this area right here. Now, originally, I had planned to build a bunch of sort of residential houses in this area. And I spent about 2 days coming up with different designs for various types of houses that I could get built, laid it all out, put in some trees, and I didn't like it at all. It was just awful. And I didn't like the designs. They didn't fit with what we had going on. So I scrapped the entire thing and started all over and came up with a design for a wool farm instead. So what we need to do is get a bunch of the sheep that are in this area, and there are plenty around here, get them collected up, and then we need to get started with getting the farm laid out. And I've got the sheep all collected up, and there were definitely not any other animals in here besides sheep at all. So we have now the sheep that we need for our wool farm. I'm going to be getting some more. As you can see, we've got the little ones growing up, and then we should be able to, once we have enough, start dyeing them. The next thing that we're going to do is lay out where the farm is going to go, because we want to make sure that we have enough space for all of the different colors of sheep to be in and to be able to set up the automatic harvesting of the wool. I've laid out the basic footprint for the building that we are going to put the farm in, And this will give us an idea of where we should put each of the different colors of sheep that we're going to have in this farm. I've laid out where the sheep are going to go, and we have 8 on each side for all 16 colors. And I had to move it back a little bit because where this wall here was going to be, I wanted to make sure that there's going to be enough room. So we are going to have this be below the structure, but the items, the wool, will go up into the structure where we'll have the collection all ready to go so that we can just select it. So where each of these blocks are is where the sheep are going to be. And now we need to get the redstone components installed for the farm itself. For the wool farm, we're going to be using a pretty standard design where you have a row of hoppers underneath, and then we're going to place a rail down and get a hopper minecart. We're going to place the hopper minecart on the rail, and we're going to break the rail. And if we get some grass, put that here. Going to put a piston here, and then we're going to press the piston to put the grass block down into where the hopper minecart is, and that will allow the wool, when it drops on the ground, to be collected. So I've been going along, I've already done these ones here. I'm going to continue to do that along this row, so that way we can get these all put into place. The next step in the process is to place an observer facing into where the grass block is, so that way we can detect when the sheep eats the grass. And I didn't do that one correctly. So we just got to go along here and place the observers right where each of the grass blocks are. Now that we have the observers in, the next thing that we need to do is place a dispenser so that it's actually facing the correct direction this way, so that's where the sheep is going to be. And we place that on top of the observer. And then to finish it off, we place a solid block and a redstone dust behind each of the dispensers, and then that will power the dispenser to use the shears when the sheep eats the grass. The final step in this wool farm is to have a way for the items that come out, or all of the little pieces of wool, to be dispensed into a water elevator so that it can go up into our storage system. And so what we're going to do is we have this little system here, which when an item comes through the hoppers, it'll enter the dispenser, and the comparator detects that item and causes the dispenser to fire, which will put the item into the water and send it up. So we have this on this side. I'm going to build it for over there. And then we should have the basics for this farm all ready to go. I think we have everything ready for the sheep, and there should be enough finally to be able to fill in all of the spots. So let me get them, and then we'll get them dyed. Now that we have the sheep all in place, it's time to get the dyes applied. And I think I have a pretty good order for doing this in. So we're going to get these all put in, and then we'll be ready to start building. We have all 16 colors for the sheep, and they're looking great in their spots. These sheep will be fine over here. We're not going to worry about them. And this is going to be really good for the farm. Now that we have everything ready to go, I think we can actually start building, which is, of course, the best part. So let's get the building started. have finished the latest in our line of epic looking farms, and this one has a couple of features that I really like how they turned out. Now, the first one is this little spot right here. I really like this sort of window. It's not really a window because you can't see through it, but I like this little design and pattern. Now, the door from this distance doesn't look that special, but if we get a little bit closer to where the signs load in, we're going to see, with these signs, we've got the hinges, and then the hanging signs make the perfect handles for a door of this size. Now, if coming up, you'll see what we have going on here. And then, of course, the way to get in is this door. But the spruce trapdoors really blend in well with the spruce door. And then we've got sort of a door that fits the size of the building. If we go inside, we can take a look at how much wool we've been able to collect. And over here, that's a pretty good amount. And then on this side, it's a pretty similar amount as well. Oops, have some stained glass in there from when we built it. I think that this is actually a pretty good. We're going to end up getting a lot. Now, one of the things that I want to do is expand the storage, because right now, having just the one chest is not going to last very long. And we've got a bunch of different types of colors all mixed in together. So there's plenty of... What's this over here? I missed that. Give me just a second. There we go. Good as new. So as I was saying, we have plenty of room in here to have lots of storage. So there's no need to just be limited to one chest. And we'll be able to expand and have a storage over on this side. This is a pretty good sized room, and there's plenty of space. But that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been great having you here. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And until next time, see you later.